back in 2001, I was a fireman right after the 2001 attacks on the World Trade Centers. And I had owned a martial arts school for nearly 20 years. So I was very conscious of combat techniques. I had worked with special forces. In fact, had lived with some of the guys back in the younger days. And I was a fireman, and there was lots of discussion about America being under attack, the threats, the things that were going on at that time in the lead up to a war based off of the information we were provided. And as we discussed these things with people in the know, as well as myself, we were discovering there were many flaws. In fact, something did not smell right at all. So as a Christian, I began to pray about this, and I asked God, I said, and very sincerely, I said, I want to know what's going on. Tell me, please, how this government system is working, who this anti-Christ type of system, which means against Christ system, is working. And is it involved in this information that's taking place now, which seems to hijack America? What I discovered through this prayer, I often refer back to now as I'm not quite sure, had I known what I was going to learn, if I would have prayed this prayer. Because I began research, and it took 2 or 3 years of research to really narrow it down and figure out. But when I did, I was assured in myself that I must create a course or a book to allow other Christians to understand this in-depth information about how their country was being hijacked and all the different types of sources and things that were being used to trick them into going to war, giving up their freedoms, bypassing their Holy Spirit speaking to them and going with man-made fear and conscience, overriding how they should behave in such a manner. It is thousands of years old, the tactics that are being used, and it's being done by a group of people who understand black magic. And it's to set forth an against Christ agenda. So during that time, I tried to reach as many people as possible in the Christian community. Did they want to listen? No. I would say about 0.1% of people were called by God to hear this message. The rest, even though they knew what I was saying was true, purposely would ignore the information. In fact, it was like the 3 monkeys where, I don't see, I don't speak about it, and I don't hear. And that's what went on for nearly 20 years as I tried to share this information. This was very true for most people doing the same thing. And if they did, their channels were taken down from social media, and they were pretty much banned from having a source to reach out. So after the last event that took place with the medical tyranny, Christians, as well as the general public, began to severely wake up, noticing that they had been put in a type of tyranny for a very long time, from their freedoms to travel, the methodologies of which things are going on, the surveillance systems that were put in place after 9/11. And they began to understand that the mainstream information from the news was lying to them, and that their pastors, through the mega churches or the mainstream churches, bent over backwards to comply and shut down their churches and get their congregations to comply to a tyranny that was very evil. And now Christians are waking up to a great many things, like our history that was taught to us is turning out to be a large amount a lie. It is possible that Jesus' millennial kingdom already took place, just as he said. It is very possible that our history about the buildings and the people that lived in our countries, especially America, that there was people here long before the Christopher Columbus age, and that the events that are going on, all of these events, from mass casualty events and shootings and crazy stuff, is being mostly orchestrated as a pre-planned event for the news in order to bring about laws that further remove America's freedom. These messages were completely rejected for 20 years now because Christians were too comfortable making a living. They were too comfortable in their passive churches with the messages that were being taught, instead of taking a stand for God, and instead of reaching out and doing what we should have been doing, Christians were taught to stand down. And now the mama bears are waking up and the papa bears are waking up to the things that are starting to go on in schools, violating their Christian beliefs and trying to indoctrinate their children, just as Americans were indoctrinated into going to war for a select group of against Christ people and for agendas to profit them and injure us. The awakening has begun. It's growing so fast they don't know what to do about it. And you will hear me mention in many of the videos. I put up several videos, and within 2 weeks' time, we had almost 50,000 views. And people were praising and loving these videos of the information that helped fill in the gaps for them. In these videos, you will hear me mention this course all the time. And people think I'm trying to sell a course. I'm trying to reach out to you and allow you to get this course so your family doesn't get injured by this secret state, this evil against Christ agenda that is going on. I'm trying to save your family and save you through information. Jesus said, "My people perish for lack of knowledge."